One, DJ Akademiks.
Ak, what up?
What up, Ak?
Ak, what up, bro?
Salute. Congrats.
Ak, I hear your little strings, nigga. You want war? Hey, what's up? You try to turn it up?
If you've been following hip-hop media over the last few years, you already recognize the pattern. Every few months, Joe Budden and Act start gravitating back toward each other. Not a full-blown beef, but just enough friction that fans start wondering whether these two are actually still on good terms. Today, we're breaking down the latest flare-up, which started after Joe publicly criticized Act in the middle of a broader conversation about the stake gambling lawsuit connected to Drake and online promotional deals. Joe's argument was straightforward. If content creators are out here promoting gambling platforms to their audiences, people deserve to know what's a genuine endorsement and what's paid promotion. Transparency around that kind of thing matters, especially when the audience putting money into these platforms is largely young. And honestly, that's not a wild position to take. But Act didn't receive it that way. Instead, Act felt like Joe was being hypocritical because Joe's own podcast carries gambling sponsors as well. And once that got thrown into the conversation, the dynamic shifted entirely.
My comrade, Joe Budden. Joe Budden's on his podcast reading a lawsuit that is so frivolous that if he looked at on face value, it's the lawsuit says that Stake is botting streams. Like Stake is running some fake program to bot streams, and that Drake has a gambling deal to get fake streams. Huh? Like, they actually read that like this was legit. No, that's just something else they're trying to take Drake down a notch. There's 8 other lawsuits, 8 other states that they have filed the same thing in. Do you think that Stake is like sitting here like, oh, let's get Drake some streams? How?
Act's thinking was simple. How are you going to come at me about gambling sponsorships when you're out here partnered with Prize Picks yourself? And that's exactly where things got messy. Because the moment that arose, the conversation stopped being about disclosure and transparency altogether. It became about loyalty, ego, and the unspoken rules around who has the standing to criticize who in hip-hop media. But let's be real, this was never really about Stake. It was never truly about gambling. At the core of it, this is about Drake. Because Ack has spent the better part of the last year firmly in Drake's corner, defending him through every controversy, pushing back on the criticism and taking shots at Kendrick throughout the entire back and forth. Joe Budden, on the other hand, has positioned himself as one of the most vocal Drake critics in the media space. And people haven't forgotten the history between Joe and Drake, going all the way back to their original beef. So Act's frustration runs deeper than one sponsorship conversation. What he's really pointing at is a perceived double standard, the idea that certain media personalities suddenly adopt a journalistic, hold everyone accountable energy, specifically when it involves Drake, but don't apply that same scrutiny to other powerful figures in the industry with just as much influence. That inconsistency is what's actually fueling this. The gambling conversation was just the match that lit it.
Don't matter when it comes to like throwing darts at like, you know, the Drakes and the whoever's of the world. Let it have been Jay-Z. We skimmed through that Jay-Z with a fine-tooth comb, and everybody and their mama pointed out every inaccuracy of any claim made against him. Hey, how the f did you get from one state to another saying you met you were outside of the award show? Everybody made sure they were on their due diligence. But when it comes to some other is just reporting all type of bull.
And that comparison was completely intentional. Act wasn't just venting. He was making a deliberate accusation that certain people in hip-hop media pick and choose when to be outraged depending on who's involved, and that the standards shift based on personal bias rather than any consistent principle. Joe Budden wasn't about to let that land without a response. On episode 926 of the Joe Budden podcast, Joe addressed it directly, and the energy behind it wasn't casual. It wasn't a friendly clarification or a let's talk this out moment. It sounded like a warning shot. Joe essentially put the question on the table for Act plainly and directly. Do you want war?
And at 1, DJ Akademiks.
Ak, what up?
What up, Ak?
Ak, what up, bro?
Salute.
Congrats.
Ack, I hear your little strings, nigga. You want war? Hey, what's up? You trying to turn shit up? What? I got to call my man to see what's going on.
I've been hearing something. I didn't know what went wrong. I've been hearing something. I've been hearing something.
I feel like all the people that was on Drake's side, it's just time for them to get their shit off with Iceman coming. So I'm not really. Yeah. I feel like that's what it is.
You think you just collateral damage? Nah, but
I was on the other side of this, and then we had the state conversation that he replied to. I don't know. I just got to call my man, see what's going on. But 1 and 2, 2 and 1, tomato. Again, the same. What he wants to do, step it up out there.
Shout out to everybody on the list, man.
Word, shouts to the list.
Congrats on number 1. You guys, congrats on number 2.
Salute.
The rest of you work harder.
Now, did Joe mean actual war? Not literally, but a podcast war. And as everyone knows, when content starts feeling repetitive and every channel is covering the same topics, what drives the most clicks is podcast beef. Because underneath all the back and forth and the jokes, there's a real competition happening here. These two are the biggest voices in hip-hop media right now. They both understand that their words can shift public opinion overnight. That kind of influence doesn't get taken lightly by either side. And here's why the timing of all this actually matters. ACT believes Drake's upcoming project is positioned to reshape the entire media conversation around him. If Drake comes back strong, everyone who spent the last year criticizing him is going to look very different in hindsight. But if the project underperforms, Joe Budden is going to have an open runway to say everything he's been building toward. That's why tensions are escalating right now. Hip-hop media is quietly positioning itself ahead of what could be the next major Drake moment. And in that space, whoever controls the narrative first holds all the leverage. What makes this clash even more layered is that Joe Budden and ACT genuinely represent two different generations of hip-hop culture. Joe comes from the traditional industry side, real record deals, artist politics, relationships built over years inside the business. He understands how that world operates from the inside out. ACT represents the internet era entirely, streaming from home, building an audience through Twitch culture, viral clips, and a commentary style where the live chat reaction is just as important as the take itself. No industry access required. And now, those two worlds are colliding again, right as Drake prepares for another major release. So the real question is whether fans actually want another Joe Budden versus ACT media war, or whether this is just well-timed noise ahead of Drake's next chapter, generating attention before the music even drops. Either way, one thing is clear. Hip-hop media is getting messier by the week, and this particular battle may only be getting started.